Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the India Gill podcast. I am your host, India Gill. I hope you're all well. And I can't believe we're already into the first week of April. And crikey, it's true what they say. As you get older, time literally seems to move faster. So today we're going to talk about the third attachment style on my list. So we've already spoken about avoidant attachment in a previous episode and anxious attachment, and today we'll talk about disorganized attachment. Now, just to recap, there are 4 attachment styles. All of us have one, whether we are aware of it or not. They're secure, which I call the gold standard. That's not what it's called in the industry. That's just how I refer to it, which is where we all aspire to be. Then most of us sit on the insecure spectrum, of which there are 3 styles, which are the avoidant, the anxious, and now the disorganized, which we'll talk about today. So as an attachment style, the disorganized attachment style can feel a little bit confusing, even, I would say, to the person who's experiencing it. But as always, the goal here is understanding, not judgment. So let's move into this with a little bit of curiosity. And I wonder if any of this resonates with you and you might think you have a disorganized attachment. So what is disorganized attachment? This style often combines patterns of both the avoidant and the anxious. And it develops, as with the other attachment styles, in childhood. This one, when a child experiences a caregiver who is both a source of comfort and a source of fear simultaneously, like someone who might be frightening, inconsistent, unpredictable. So imagine a child who loves their caregiver, but also senses danger from them. Does that sound familiar? The nervous system experiences this conflict. It's kind of like the inner narrative running, I want closeness, but actually closeness feels unsafe. And this can lead to behaviors that actually feel and look contradictory. And it's like wanting connection, but pulling away, or seeking comfort, but then fearing it, right? So opposites. This style is often linked to experiences of trauma, neglect, or frightening caregiving in early life. And again, I want to stress that this isn't a flaw, it's a survival strategy. The child in question would have learned to navigate an environment where safety and danger were intertwined. So how does a disorganized attachment show up in adults? Well, it can appear as an oscillating between closeness and distance in relationships, feeling anxious about relationships, but also like afraid of vulnerability. It can be manifest like a difficulty trusting others whilst still craving that connection, or behaving in ways that feel contradictory or confusing, not just to others, but to themselves as well. And another trait would be experiencing emotional highs and lows that feel really intense and particularly unpredictable. Does any of this sound familiar to you? Any of it resonate? So this combination of wanting closeness but fearing it creates tension in one's relationships. So someone with a disorganized attachment might struggle to communicate their needs, or they may feel pulled between approaching and then withdrawing from a partner. So we're trying to understand disorganized attachment here, not to judge it. And it's very easy to do with this attachment style, because I remember when I first looked into attachment, when I did my diploma a good while ago, I kind of was just like, oh, well, I don't have a disorganized attachment. And since I think, well, I'm an avoidant at my core, just avoidant dismissive, but maybe I have traces of traits here and there, likely of disorganized attachment, and that's okay. Knowing it, owning it, is the only way that maneuvers us towards secure attachment. Then we know why we do what we do. So disorganized attachment is often misunderstood, just as I had misunderstood it in the beginning. And people might think, if they have a disorganized attachment, oh, I'm just difficult in relationships, or I push people away for no reason. But when we see it through the lens of attachment, it actually makes perfect sense. The behaviors are protective strategies. And the nervous system, it's doing its best in an unsafe environment. So let me just let that sit with you. So these behaviors, I'd say with most of the attachment styles, are protective strategies. And it's just the nervous system doing its best in whatever environment it finds itself in. So it's important to know that these patterns don't have to be permanent. With awareness, with therapy, and actually through safe relationships and experiences, it's possible to develop a more secure attachment style. Real life scenario that comes to mind is a client. I mean, I'll always remember this client because it was just like such a drastic change from when we met to when she exited therapy. Years later, like she was a completely different person almost. She came into the therapy with all of these labels and saying, I have awful relationships. Without going into too many details, people had called her manipulative, narcissistic, and she just couldn't do relationships. I don't think she had a single working relationship, work, family, friends, when she came to me. And there was in the first session, she was like, oh my God, I've had therapy since I was 12. And actually, I haven't liked any of my therapists. I'm going to love working with you. And that was how she was at the end of the first session. So that to me already was like, because with this attachment style, they can actually really love you one minute and then it's just like demonize you the next. That's an exaggerated form when I use those words like, love you and then demonize you. It's like that push-pull dynamic, right? So working with disorganized attachment often requires patience and creating safety. Therapy can be particularly helpful because it offers a consistent, safe space to explore fears and learn new ways to regulate emotions and practice trust, basically. Some of the other strategies that we can use to move towards while working with a disorganized attachment is just to notice automatic reactions without judging them, but just to notice them. And then gradually practicing like vulnerability in safe relationships, like, just to encourage your client. Once we've modeled a safe relationship in therapy, in the therapeutic relationship, to actually encourage them to gradually practice vulnerability in a safe relationships and learn to self-soothe and emotionally regulate. We teach a lot of techniques moving towards this. It's a really slow process most of the time. And you know what? That's okay, because the nervous system needs time to learn that closeness can actually feel safe. It can be safe. It doesn't have to be there, fearful, unpredictable. It can be a safe space. So where are we? Disorganized attachment develops where safety and fear, as we've noted, or as I said previously, become intertwined. And attachment form therapy, I'm an attachment therapist, offers something really profoundly different. Like I've just touched on here, it offers a relationship that's consistent, that's predictable, safe enough for healing to actually begin. So I wonder if you've recognized any of these disorganized attachment patterns in yourself. And remember, your attachment style is a survival strategy, not a flaw, and it can change. Mine has. And through awareness, therapy, safe experiences, safe relationships, you can actually move towards my gold standard, as I call it, towards secure attachment. And it's a journey. It's taken me a long while, but it's a journey. And it's actually quite a beautiful journey because I've seen my own practice transform and my relationships transform thanks to this one modality. So yeah, you are capable of experiencing relationships with trust, safety, and emotional balance. Thank you so much. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you for joining me today on the India Guild podcast. And as you know, these podcast episodes usually land on the first of every month. It's now turning into the first week of every month, so my apologies for that. In the next podcast, we will explore secure attachment, the style that we can all cultivate, even if our starting point is anxious, avoidant, or disorganized. I was a heavy avoidant, dismissive. And it's such a beautiful thing to say that in my practice, I 100% sit in secure attachment now. And even in the rest of my life, I'd say 90% of the time, or 90 plus perhaps, it's a journey. And it's a beautiful journey of self-awareness, growth, transformation. Once again, thanks for being with me here on the India Gill podcast. And notice your patterns. Until we meet again, be gentle with yourself and know that secure connection is possible for you. And I want to leave with my signature to say, approach everyone and everything with curiosity, with a view to understand, not to judge. You can find me, my website is indiagill.com if you want to work with me. And you can find me on social media under India Gill on Instagram and Facebook and on LinkedIn. I look forward to seeing you next month. In the meantime, take care.